Hey there, everybody. It is Friday afternoon, and I am coming to you live from Atlanta, Georgia. I am down in the ATL, and I am very excited. We have a very different topic today in our interview. And I think the reason I'm so excited is that we've got a person who specializes in what they do. They've sold houses. If you're just hopping on, before I really launch into stuff I don't want anyone to miss, it's Sherri Johnson. Good to see you all. Rockstars in Real Estate is happening right now. And again, I'm coming in from Atlanta. Please go into the comments and put your name in there and let us both know where you're tuning in from. We'd love to know that you're on live with us. And I am so excited. I'm going to jump in right now. We are recording this. It's going on permanent location on the podcast. So feel free to ask questions to our guest today. I'm excited to introduce Dale Archdekin from Smart Inside Sales, and he is going to talk to us today about how to develop scripts and dialogues and how to get ISAs set up in your companies. If you're a team leader, you're going to love this. All of my team leaders, I hope you're watching this, and the teams we coach. Good morning or good afternoon, Dale. Actually, it's still morning. I'm usually doing this show at noon, so I'm a little off today. Hi, Dale. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I got to tell you, I didn't know who you were at first. When I was asked to come do the podcast, I'm like, let me go figure this out. And I discovered that you have like one of the best YouTube channels that I've seen out there.
Oh,
and
thank you.
Such a great amount of great content. And I really appreciate being invited to be on here.
Oh, absolutely. We are thrilled to have you. And, we're kind of like, I think this is my 5th year this month of branching out and starting Sherri Johnson Coaching. And I'm just thrilled that we connected through, always through my awesome producer. Shout out to Zach. I want to tell everybody, first of all, Dale has sold houses. You were very successful listing agent. You had a very successful real estate business. How did you tell us a little bit about the history, where you're from, where you live, and then tell everybody sort of how this started, Smart Inside Sales, and who are you and what do you guys do?
Yeah. So yes, I'm in Philadelphia. I was a listing agent for, probably 5 or 6 years by myself. Actually, I worked part-time with my wife, which is an entirely different story, but for the most part, myself. And then another agent in my office at the time said, hey, you're a cold call cowboy. You're one of the best prospectors in the market. I have this amazing website that is fully SEO'd. I just purchased and is literally dumping gold out onto the floor, but my lazy agents aren't doing anything with it. Can you help me here? And I said, hey, I appreciate it. I'm getting a little burned out doing it myself. And I heard this crazy idea of inside sales that, this guy, Tim Heil down in Texas is doing now. Let's see if we can do it too. If anybody remembers who, back in the day when he was big doing that stuff. So went, studied them, tried to bring it back to our market. We screwed it up, wasted a lot of money until we finally got the formula figured out. And then we got to a point where I could take a stranger off the street with no real estate experience with our training and leads. And we had an average mix of leads, nothing crazy, but they could produce 60 units in their first year additional for the team from a zero start, right? And so we then built that small team. We started out about 5 agents, about 100 transactions a year, grew it to 30 agents and over 650 transactions a year. And then at a certain point, I was like, I feel like people would want to know how to do this for themselves. And I think I could start a coaching and training company to show them how to do it and take our scripting and dialogue and our role playing and call review techniques on how to build someone's sales skills quickly, lead conversion skills quickly, and teach that to other teams and agents across the country. Turned out that people really loved it. And so, thank you so much to the fates. We've done really well so far with that.
Well, and I think you said, I don't want anyone to miss that. I heard Dale just say from 0 to 60 sold units. That's the correct number, correct?
Yes. Yeah. Per person. So off the street, some ISAs will hit 45, 50. Best I've been able to do is 60 units from an ISA with zero real estate sales experience in the first year.
And you speak my language because I am all about immediate acceleration and meteoric results. I think, I was told, my dad told me, you may not sell a house in 6 months, kid. And I said, well, if I don't sell a house in 6 months, like, I'm not doing this and I'll be doing something else. I had a condo payment, a car payment, and a really high shopping habit. I was 26 years old.
The best motivation.
I still have the high shopping habit, I'm sure. But, I had 5 sales my first month. And I
Wow.
tell all new agents, you can do anything.
Yeah.
This theory of it's going to take time is nonsense. Today's agents can do whatever you want, really. It's just a matter of working smarter, not harder. So tell us, you started this company and you specifically teach about lead conversion and setting up appointments, I'm sure. So can you give us because I love a good script strategy. Like, I'm all about being strategic. I'm all about asking leading questions. I love helping people get to through the stages of the home selling or buying process. And most agents, as we know, want all the A buyers. They want the Glenn Gary, Glenn Ross leads, that are great. They're out there. But I teach this whole system of building a backlog of the goldmine pipeline to keep people engaged with you. How do you get appointments? What's your strategy for helping agents get to that 0 to 60? And again, this is teaching agents how to do this, correct?
Agents and ISAs.
ISAs. Okay.
Yeah. So because both of them are touching the leads, and in a lot of teams, a lot of organizations, or even individual agents, you are the ISA, right? If you're still working leads, you're the ISA. If you're an ISA, that's pretty much all that you do. So, but both of them have to convert these leads. So to answer your question.
Yeah, before you deal, let me ask you real quick, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but I think I should have asked you first. Can you explain for everyone on the call who's new to the term ISA? It is inside sales agent, but define what that person is doing. Because I think some people may just not even know what we're talking about just because they're new to the term.
I forget there's still people that don't know what that term is. And it's okay, no problem. I'm immersed in it all the time.
There it is. There's the question.
There's the question.
It just came up after I said that.
Yeah. So it's an inside sales agent is what it stands for. And essentially, it is a person who is dedicated to either receiving inbound leads or prospecting outbound, cold prospecting, or working, making phone calls, text, emails, or even working internet, working social media to generate inquiries or leads. That person's sole purpose is to receive or generate leads, do discovery, either set appointments or create nurtures in your CRM, right? Future business, as you talked about, Sherri. And for some, depending on the team, depending on the structure, either go all the way to setting appointments for the outside agents who are going to go open doors or conduct a listing appointment, or at the very small end, just simply be a lead scrubber to see if this lead can fog a mirror, right? Has a heartbeat, and then let an agent handle the follow-up and things like that. But essentially an ISA is a dedicated internal position that does not go out to show houses, does not go out to do listing appointments.
Exactly. And, I coach a lot of teams that have ISAs. They have, some have 6, which is a lot. I think that's a huge, again, they've got, 50 people on their team. Is an ISA paid like a salary? Is that person paid by the team leader?
Yeah, typically a base salary. And then there'll be some sort of, you'll have what's called an on-target earnings. This comes from outside our industry because ISAs and internal sales organizations have existed for a long time. But on-target earnings means what are you going to earn at the end of the year if you hit all your goals, right? So typically there's going to be a base pay, and that really varies based on region and area of the country. And then there'll be some sort of either commission on the sale of the property, or some share of the commission, depending on how it's structured. Or there also might be some interim payments. For instance, making a base pay plus compensation for appointments met, some sort of compensation for a contract signed, buyer or listing, and then some sort of compensation for a closing.
It's great. And I will say, I see a lot of sort of the teams that we work with use the ISA as a really a sort of mining, educating process for them to become real estate agents. Do you see that a lot?
Yeah, some of the best teams out there have that down. Once you get to the point where you can do that, it is sort of the daycare, right? Your would-be future agents start out either in the like in the ISA department, receiving leads, talking to leads, creating opportunities, creating appointments, and then potentially move on to being a showing assistant for another agent on the team, and then graduating to being that outside agent who's showing houses, conducting listing appointments, things like that.
Yeah, and it when in a world now, a lot of people are asking, and I know they're thinking this, like, where do you get these leads from? Like, oops, sorry. Where do you get these leads from? Are the leads coming from, paid leads online? Are the leads because we have a huge database? Are the leads because we are getting these leads from organic, Facebook, social media? Where are most of these leads coming in that the ISAs are calling?
Typically, well, everywhere, right? So again, for people listening, I mean, there's everyone from a newer agent who is just trying to build their sphere, maybe getting a couple of sign calls or maybe purchasing some internet leads, all the way up to massive teams that are, spending six figures a month on multi different channels, right? So the leads, really, an ISA can work anything that they're given. I'd say best case scenario is you need to have at least some sort of inbound lead flow, or a really established farm or SOI that can keep the ISA busy so that they can have 10 to 15 at least conversations per day. I think that's kind of the benchmark that you'd want to have before you hired your first ISA.
Yeah, that's my next question. So a lot of times agents want to hire an ISA. Where is the sort of right amount of listings, revenue, sales? Is there a formula that agents can follow for when it is the right time to jump in the deep end and get an ISA on board?
My recommendation would be that you first start with the base pay of the ISA. So on average, base pay for ISAs range somewhere from, on the very low end, say 25,000, to on the higher end up to 50,000, depending on market that you're in, depending on your average price. So I would have at least at minimum 3 months of that in the bank, so that you can pay that without sweating. And then I would say that you're going to need to have a database of probably a minimum of 2,000 people. And you'd need to have some sort of minimal lead flow to where you're receiving at least, one lead a day, whether that's a website registration or whether you are, already well-versed at working outbound stuff, or, embedded in your local neighborhood, whatever farm you're working in. And you have a good amount of people for this ISA to talk to and include some warm leads. So here's what I would say as a caveat. The people who should not hire ISAs are the people who don't have any experience working stranger business, don't have a huge pool of SOI, and simply are trying to get an ISA to generate leads for them because they don't have enough leads currently.
Yes.
Those are the people who should not hire ISAs.
I agree.
Yeah. If you have too many leads to get to, and there's gold in your CRM and you just aren't getting to it because you're too busy selling houses, get an ISA.
Yeah, it's when the stuff's falling through the cracks, right? You're missing opportunities. People are, by the time you get to them, they've said, I've already bought a house. We already listed. You see, it's already in the MLS. You missed that opportunity. Yeah. I have a phrase: opportunities are not lost. They go to someone else. And so I think when that starts happening, that is absolutely the right time. Having the ability to do it profitably without breaking the bank and being able to pay somebody. I'm glad you mentioned that reserve amount, of having that amount ready to go, 3 months worth of pay. I think you're right, though. Sometimes people are setting up, we do a lot of preliminary discussions about setting up a team or hiring an ISA and doing these things in the right order so that you do them the right way. Yeah. So I'm glad you mentioned that. You mentioned outbound and inbound leads. And just for everybody's benefit, I'll ask that question. Describe the difference and why there's a terminology of outbound versus inbound.
Sure. So inbound is going to be somebody at the highest level who says, Sherri, I want to go see that house you have listed, or I saw something on your website and I want to go take a look at it, or Sherri, I have a question about the home buying process, or I want to talk to an agent about getting this done. Those are hot inbound leads, all the way down to inbound being, hey, complete stranger on the internet, I will let you see pretty houses if you give me your contact info. That we still consider inbound, right? This lead took an action, gave us their contact information, and thereby some sort of implied permission to contact them or some need.
Yes.
So that would be inbound. Outbound is, I have no idea who you are. You reached out to me. You're a complete stranger, right? So I'm a for sale by owner, and you call me out of the blue as an agent.
Yep.
I had my house on the market and it expired, and you call me out of the blue as an agent. Or I'm sitting in my house and you come and knock on my door, or you send me a, you send me a solicitation in some way, whatever it is, you're reaching out to me as a cold stranger. So that would be outbound.
Yep. And so, it's so funny because, I feel like we have so many ways to generate business. And I think that's one of the things that jams everybody up, is that there's just so many different, I'm sitting here, you're just giving me all these great, yes, ideas. How long people ask me this all the time. Like, we put people on the goldmine pipeline system and we say, leave them on there forever. I mean, literally, what's your philosophy on how often do you contact these people, and for how long? Like, how often in each, is it based on their interest, their motivation to buy or sell? And then how long out do you stay in touch with them? What if they ghost you? Dale, what do we do if somebody ghosts us?
Yeah. So lots of questions to answer there.
Yeah.
Really, our theory, our methodology is very much in line with what you've described about your gold pipeline.
Yeah.
And that every person is a potential piece of business somewhere, sometimes at some point in the future, maybe just not right now. And so what I'll address first then is knowing that long tail, exactly like you talked about, right? We're never going to let anybody go away. We're never going to cancel them out unless we just have bad information on that record in a CRM. So we're going to keep them forever, keep them in our world. So I'll address those newer leads when they come in. Once either you've raised your hand, or you've popped onto our website and registered, you've become a lead somehow in our world. So we follow a basic pattern. And just to, it can be modified for certain teams the way they work. But if I were to give people a basic way of doing it, is you look at from the day one being new lead, right? So the day that you raise your hand, the day that you come into my system is day one. On day one, we are going to reach out to you at least twice. So let's say once in the morning, once later on in the day, and we're going to do it by a minimum of 3 methods if we have it, which is going to be, for instance, call, text, email, or call, text, DM, right? Social media, whatever it may be. But we're going to do it 3 methods twice in the first day. Then we're going to do it each day by, again, 3 methods at least for, say, the next 6 days. So 7 days total. I think Ben Kinney back in the day coined the 10 days of pain, right? Similar idea. It's going to be some stretch of time. We generally do 7 days. We're going to hit you each day, and then we're going to let you go dormant. So during that 7 days, we either create an appointment with you, we either determine that you're wrong information and we need to dead you out of the system, or we determine that you aren't quite ready to do something and you become a nurture in our system, and we have a logical next step with you with tasking and things like that. Or you don't answer at all and you flow into our cold leads, right?
Okay.
So then once you're into the cold lead pile, now this is going to depend on the volume of leads that a team or an individual has and the manpower that they have to work them. Let's assume on average that you are an individual, you're getting a few, you're receiving several leads a week. They're flowing into your cold pile. I would say that you would turn that cold pile over by bringing those leads back up and doing a 3-day intensive each day, probably once a month, if you are able to get around to doing that. if you're a massive team, you got 50,000, 70,000 leads in your system, and you only have 6 ISAs to work them, well, you might only be able to turn that lead pile over once a quarter, if you can even get to it, if you can get all the way down through that lead pile. But once it's in that cold pile, you're also doing automated messaging as you probably as you promote, right? Where we're staying in front of you with evidence of success, testimonies, offering value, and then just mixing in like, hey, I'm your friend kind of messages. Like, check out this YouTube video on the really great Korean taco place downtown. I don't know if you've been there, right? That's like a message, just a friend you message. I'm not asking you to buy or sell real estate. I'm telling you about Korean tacos because they're awesome.
I love it. Yeah. Talking about everything but real estate, actually. I loved how you just broke it down into, the follow-up. It goes into this funnel. I'm not even sure if you call them funnels, but we call some things funnels around here, and I'm probably saying it wrong, Zach. You're probably laughing, but we have to have a follow-up system, everybody. This is why, I say the fortune is in the follow-up. I didn't coin that either, but it's constantly a reminder to everyone that like those people will eventually buy. Dale and I are both not coaches that tell you that if someone ghosts you after the 3rd time, drop them. That is an absolute, that to me, that is like killing an opportunity. And I don't even know why I said killing, but that is ruining an opportunity for you. I love that you did say dead out the lead.
You're going to be my friend until one of us dies. Like
that's right.
What I consider. Whether you talk to me right now or not, whether you know it or not, we're friends till you die.
Well, and I did this. I have to tell the story. It's hysterical. And some people are on here that will get a kick out of it because they were there. I did this huge, I was a regional vice president for a huge company, one of the largest in the country, actually, Howard Anna, which I'm sure you've heard of, Dale. So in Cleveland. And I did this agent panel, and one of my top agents was up there. And I said to her, at what point, Karen, do you, because she prospects every single morning, literally like methodically. And she does, 50 million. And I said, at what point do you not follow up with somebody? And I knew her answer would be that she always kept them on the list. I just didn't know she was going to say what she said, which was until they buy or die. And it was like hysterical, and everybody started laughing. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you just said that. But yeah, basically that's the thing. And my good friend Michael Game, they say the same thing. So there is fortune in the follow-up. It just, you have to build a system, and I think our biggest problem is we operate under lack of systems, and we don't create just a little bit of front end work to have a good, well-oiled machine for prospecting follow-up that will pay out like crazy. So the next step then is what? Like, we put them into these groups. Now we're following up. They get an appointment, and they're booking that appointment for an agent on the team, correct?
An ISA, yes. So depending on the structure, yes, they can book appointments for the agent or agents for them to go out. And, they can book either video consults, they can book face-to-face, they can book showings, they can pretty much book anything. And it just goes through just like everything else, it goes through a process. You got to teach the ISA how to talk to a lead. You got to teach the ISA how to set crappy appointments. Then you got to teach the ISA how to set good appointments. And then they set a lot of good appointments, right? Provided that you're still giving them leads and they have a good system to work with. Once they've set the appointment, we generally employ a system. This is where I'm sure you've experienced this coaching your clients. Hey, ISA sets a bunch of appointments. You ask the ISA, great. Did any of them go to settlement? Have any of them put anything under contract? ISA is like, I have no idea. It went into the black hole of agent world, and I don't have any feedback on it. So we generally employ a system, and this we've found to be really successful. What we say is, listen, ISA is going to give you an appointment, agent, and after 24 hours, within 24 hours of that appointment being conducted, one of 3 things has to happen. Agent has to come back to the ISA and say, hey, that person wasn't quite ready. You need to nurture them further until they are. You take them back. Or ideally, agent says, yeah, they're great. We're shopping. We signed a buyer broker relationship, or whatever it is, where we've connected and we're working together. Or third, Agent says, hey, I didn't get anything signed, but I believe I can convert them within the next 2 weeks, and I'm going to keep them for now. Otherwise, when you hit that 2-week window, if you haven't converted them, you give them back to the ISA. ISA nurtures them further until they're ready. So that's a little farther down the pipeline of what happens when you're functionally working with your ISA team.
I love it. And I love just laying it out. When they get, I've seen a lot of awesome gamification, if you will. Do you ever see this, like the gamification? A couple of teams I've coached, I'm in their offices and I see, Hoopla is, popular, and somebody gets an appointment, or they get an appointment and, ring the bell, or the Hoopla is great because like this big thing goes across the screen and
I haven't heard of Hoopla.
You have not?
No, I haven't.
Oh yeah, you're gonna love this. It's totally what you would do, because it actually, it builds momentum. Success breeds more success, as you know, and everybody wins, and everybody's like, oh, Dale just got a lead, and now I'm going to go make some phone calls. I learned this. I have been the national speaker for homes.com, and I was in their headquarters speaking to all their sales reps, and learning more, I thought, from them than I was teaching them. But one of the things they do is this Hoopla. So all these huge screens are all over the place, Dale. And, so-and-so sold something, or got an appointment, or got somebody to sign up for something. And across this big screen is like, this football player that scores the touchdown and dances, and music goes off, and fireworks. And then cool. it goes across everybody's platform as well. So it's really fun. I've put it into a lot of teams, into their offices, and then
I totally see it. Yeah. So now you're like, oh man,
leaderboard.
I need to make the guy dance. Ed just made the guy dance twice today. This is pissing me off. I need to send a dance across people's screens.
And then there's like a leaderboard that shows, healthy competition of how many appointments I set today, this week, this month. So it's a really cool system. So I want to give our people that are listening something that, you've given them so much so far already. This has been awesome. And I love how you think. And I'm so excited because you're creating some content that's going to go into the Sherri Johnson Academy to help our agents. And I'm looking forward to that mini course that we put into the Sherri Johnson Academy on this. What would you say is the sort of the end result is we get an appointment, the agent goes out, they list the house. So are there tracking systems for this? Is it just is everyone using their unique CRMs? Where is all this sort of communication happening where the agent, gives feedback that they've either said this is a great lead, it's not a great lead? Is that all within the CRMs? And are you seeing different CRMs that are better than others? I get that question a lot too. So.
I know. Everybody wants to know what the perfect CRM is. It just doesn't. So I'm sure you coach a lot of people, you work with a lot of teams. Everybody's using something different.
Yep. Or they have three CRMs.
And they can't decide. Yeah.
Because they like something of each one. They don't want to give it up.
Right. Yeah. I don't have any, I can't add to this, this dogfight in terms of saying like, oh yeah, I have that holy grail CRM over here. No. The feedback is just inside those CRMs. Okay. I think that the magic is consistency. If you can bring processes and consistency, like I gave you that example of the 3 things that are going to happen within 24 hours.
Yeah.
That's a hard rule that has to happen. And people, when you first try to implement it, people are going to violate it. They're not going to do it. You have to reinforce it. You have to remind them. And unfortunately, as business owners like you and I, we know that a lot of this crap is just repeating ourselves over and over and over again consistently until you get to the point where you've got 80 to 90 to 95% adoption. And that's really all it takes.
I couldn't agree with you more. It is, I always preach, it's like we need to hear things 7 times, 7 different ways anyway.
Yeah.
When you're hurting all these agents to like follow a system that technically, like, most agents are sort of non-conforming, and which is why they're so flexible. And they can jump, into change their schedule all day long. But you're right. The consistency is got to be there. And we hear this all the time. Consistency is what lacks in our business world, I think, and in our sales world of hitting our goals. And then when you hear what the thing is that people do, it's consistency. That's what makes them so successful, and that's what gets more appointments. So setting goals with these ISAs, I'm sure that's part of the program. You establish goals for how many dials they make, how many appointments you said earlier. I think you called it, what was the term you used for?
Nurtures?
Well, before the,
Contact?
yeah. Well, contacts, nurtures, and then maybe it was once you got a good hot lead. What is that called? Is that just an appointment?
Yeah, just an
Okay.
appointment.
All right, cool. And so if I'm trying to set up an ISA, or I want to talk to you even about doing that. So you don't actually provide the service, but you help people set these up within their companies.
Yes. So basically we consult with people who want to hire and, manage their own ISAs. So you can go the done for you route where there's a million companies out there that will take your money and they have ISAs who are going to call for you.
Okay.
And I'm going to be honest with you, Sherri. I generally speaking out in our industry, I haven't seen people do much better than simply breaking even on the money they spent versus the deals that those done for you ISA agents are able to provide that get closed. So nobody's really killing it with done for you services. Unfortunately, I love you guys out there. I apologize for saying that. I'm sure some of them are going to hate me. But, generally we see the best results. I'm sure you've seen this in your coaching company, that the people who have in-house ISAs generally do the best, have the best results because you can control the training and the process yourself. So, in setting that up, I think the question was, how do we go about setting it up, and how would you reaching out to us? Yes. So we consult on that. And the first thing you have to do is decide, do I have enough leads? Am I in that position where I have the lead flow, I have the contacts, and I know business can be created if simply somebody talked to them and kept up with them. That's the right position to be in. Then if you're going to set it up, you would consult with somebody, like my company. We have what's called the ISA department in a box, where we teach you the best practices of screening, recruiting, hiring, managing, training, and leading ISAs and setting up that department so we can help you do things like that. In the absence of that, what I would say, if I can give something to your listeners, would be take a look at your lead flow. See how many leads you have coming in. And as a general rule of thumb, if you have a full-time ISA, which I think, if you're going to hire one, they should probably be full-time. It's easier to manage them that way. You're going to want to be able to provide them a minimum of, say, 5 to 10 new leads per week. And that's provided that you already have a database of your sphere of influence, past clients, maybe some of your farm, and some previous website leads or Zillow, Realtor, whatever it may be. Right. You already have a backlog of a few thousand leads in a CRM. That should provide enough time. That should be kind of the jumping off point for an ISA. And then what you want to look for is you want to train them to get up to being able to make somewhere between 20 to 40 conversations or connections per day, per working shift. And a contact can be a voice to voice, text to text, email to email, DM to DM, right? That's a contact. So you're going to start with that kind of metric for making contacts. And then you're generally looking for them to be able to start off setting, say, 2 to 3 appointments in a week. And then maybe even growing up to, if they're really good at setting appointments, as much as 2 appointments a day. 10 appointments a week, depending on your lead flow, depending on their skill set. But I will give this caveat. I've seen ISAs who can create 60 transactions a year from 5 appointments a week. And I've seen them who can create 60 transactions a year from 10 appointments a week.
Wow.
The difference is some people can set a crap ton of appointments, but they aren't all high quality. Gotcha. Some people only set quality appointments, and therefore they set fewer. So it really depends on the individual and their personality and style.
And I say the same thing. In that case in point, you can make less calls and be more effective and convert more of the successful conversion of less calls by having a better strategy. And so that's great. And 2 a day to, 5 to 10 a week, or 10 to 20 appointments a week, I think is fantastic. This person is in person, not remote.
So my recommendations generally are that they can be remote. Depending on your area of the country, you probably want them somewhere in your region. So they have a similar dialect, they have a similar understanding, a similar way of approaching people. So for instance, I'm in the Philadelphia area. I'm in the Northeast. We're kind of quick and kind of jerky, is what a lot of people would say, right? So if you're a sweet person in Oklahoma, you're probably not going to do so good here unless you just have such an oozing sweet personality that everybody loves you. Likewise, if you're fast and kind of rude, you're probably not going to do super good in the South. So it's just not going to play well. So I'd say you can have somebody remote, who, meaning not in your office. I think the best course of action is to have them in your general region.
Okay. And I love that I'm from Cleveland, but people always think I'm from New Jersey.
And yeah, I thought you were around our area.
And I say, thanks for the compliment, because I love people from New Jersey. And maybe I have that sort of, I think it's an East Side Cleveland thing. We're closer to you guys. Yes. And I think that's a good point, though, because I think, I think someone just commented too, Kyle Sheehan. Oh, that's my problem. That's really good. You know what, though? It's true. I'm in Atlanta right now, and it's I have to slow down my cadence when I'm talking. I mean, you have to know this about yourself and about how you speak to others. So I know you teach strategies and scripts, and you teach like so if I write this, do I have to write like a whole script for somebody, or do you provide that to your customers, your clients that you work with? Do you provide the scripts and the like what to say and how to say it in the order? And then is it all written out? Because all these agents are like, I don't have time to write a script. So tell us about that part of your
Sure.
process.
Yes. So scripts are training wheels. We have to start there. You start with the training wheels on, but the point is we teach you how to balance. Okay. We're going to get you to a unicycle, but we have to start with training wheels. So yes, we do teach the scripts. Yes, we do have patterns to follow. Yes, we do have really good intros, good closings, things like that. And we have best practices that we teach the ISAs and agents, because we also work with agent teams. But at the core of what we do, the reason that we're specialists is because we go beyond that, and we're teaching you it's like scripts are like giving you the recipe, whereas we want to go farther and teach you the food science so that you can create art with your conversation, essentially. So that's what we progress to. And that's the reason why we study and focus and our niche in the service that we provide in terms of this, hardcore hands-on sales training that we provide to our clients.
And I love it because it is an art, and it is understanding how you say things, your voice tone, the order of the questions that you ask. All of this plays a huge part. And so when you track, or do your clients track the conversion rate of the scripts that you're providing? Or, I mean, you must track them somehow. You've been very wildly successful in real estate. And again, in this company, what kind of, if I call X number of people, is there supposed to be some magic thing? I go back to, I like to call less people and be more effective and have a higher conversion calling less people. But what do you think?
Let's take this as an example, because there's lots of different lead sources, right? So love them or hate them. Right now, Zillow Flex, for those of you who don't know what Zillow Flex is the highest quality leads from the internet in our industry right now. If you don't already own your market online locally, of the stuff that you can buy and be participated in, that's one of the highest quality leads at the moment, where if you aren't setting an appointment in every 2 to 3 conversations, you're failing at doing that, right? Yep. That's the quality. Down to like circle prospecting and just calling complete strangers in your market, where you're going to be lucky out of 100 conversations to pull a listing in a lot of markets. So let's just take one lead source out of these and give you a demonstration. Let's say pay-per-click online, right? Google pay-per-click. I run one of those 3 ads at the top. You search for beautiful houses in whatever neighborhood. I pop up as one of the 3. You click on me. I force you to give me your contact info in order to see pretty houses, right? I didn't intend for you to reach out to me. I didn't intend to have a conversation with you, but I'm going to reach out and do it anyway. So that's the kind of lead source we're talking about.
Okay.
Here in the States, if you can get to, say, a 5 to 6% conversion rate, which is lead to closing, you're killing it, right? In Canada, it's higher. But here, if I can get there, you're killing it as a team. When we work with an agent or an ISA who's working that kind of lead source, generally when they start out, they'll probably be somewhere between 40 to 60 conversations to an appointment, right? As we work with them, as we work with their dialogue, their scripting, their skills, their abilities, we see them slowly work that down to 40 to 35 to 30 conversations to 20. And if they can get, with that kind of lead source, if they can get under 20 conversations to an appointment, they're doing really well. They're like a sniper when it comes to that lead. So these are the things that we track in my company when we're working with teams, when we're working with agents or ISAs. We focus on how many contacts do you need to an appointment based on your lead source that you're working.
I love that. I love that. It's really like awesome that we met, because it's right in line with how we coach and how we set people up for success. Dale, this is awesome. So what's your website? And we'll make sure that we post that. Zach, if you can post Dale's website, Smart Inside Sales.
SmartInsideSales.com. Pretty easy. Okay. And I have a weird last name, so I'm easy to find.
Archdekin. It actually, when you look at the word, it makes sense. Archdekin, 3 syllables. We would love to have you back on the show. As I mentioned, and if you missed this part, we are having a course provided by Dale and Smart Inside Sales in the Sherri Johnson Academy. As soon as that's out, we will be emailing all of you, and you can learn more about Smart Inside Sales by going and checking out Dale's website, and also find him on social media. I'm sure you're all over the social media as well. I'm excited because I believe that anyone out there, and this is a conversation I have weekly with team leaders wanting to grow, wanting to scale. It's one of our biggest, coaching programs and platforms is helping agents scale their teams, and going into an ISA program and developing a system is absolutely can be the most profitable thing you do. And I like I said, we're coaching teams that are doing 200 million and they have ISAs. Imagine that. It's awesome because it leverages so much. I mean, imagine having your calendar full of appointments that are already there, that are already ready to go. And, and our big thing is, how many listing appointments do you have a week? That if you have listing appointments and you have a listing appointment goal and you hit that goal or exceed it, everything else will take care of itself, because you're going to list those properties. Those properties you should be able to generate 3 to 5 sales off of those properties, even now. And that's what, we believe if you launch the listing the right way, you should generate 3 to 5 other sales off of that. All kinds of great things will happen, but you have to have appointments. And if you're at that point, Dale, a lot of our people will get sort of plateau, and I feel like, and I know this from 26 years of doing it myself, as well as watching agents, coaching them and helping them solve this problem. But you're out there, you're plateauing. And the reason you're doing 10 million every year of life for the last 5 years and you haven't broken through is because you haven't changed anything.
It's the reason I haven't lost 20 pounds yet, Sherri. It's because I haven't changed anything. I'm just I have to eat less or exercise more. Yeah.
I'm in the same boat, and mine was like before the pandemic, I think. I have to be honest with you. Although I'm in the right trajectory. I ran this morning and yesterday. Nice. But if nothing changes, nothing changes. And if you don't, disrupt something, your whole family, your life, your kids, yourself, your whole being, your dog, everybody knows how you do 10 million because you've been doing it for the last 5 years, 10 years. Yeah. So
I want to
Change
point
that up.
something out too. I want to point this out, Sherri. After, for instance, the fantastic YouTube channel that you have, the great content that you produce, I want everybody here listening, and I'm going to say this as an outside person. The reason that Sherri is so successful in her coaching company is because she's constantly in front of you providing value over and over and over and over again. And it compounds and compounds and compounds. And then she has people who want to coach with her and get that wisdom and get that help. Are you doing the same thing in your market to the people who own houses or want to own houses? The answer is probably not.
Correct. It is, my very good friend Alan Dalton says, influence your sphere instead of sphere of influence. And it's I've been in this business 26 years, and I heard him say it maybe 3 years ago. And it's so true.
That's a great phrase.
How do you influence your sphere? And it's Alan Dalton. He was, he's a senior VP at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. He was CEO of Realtor.com. I mean, the guy's an icon, legend in the industry. But he says, influence your sphere.
Yeah.
Be impactful to them. Talk to them.
Wait, Sherri, did you ask for permission to influence your sphere, or did you just do it?
I just did it.
You just did it. I just did it too, right? So for you listening, where you're like, oh, influence my sphere. I don't know. Am I the right person? Do I have enough experience? Stop that and just show up. Say what you know. Say what you're good at, and people will resonate with it. That's what I did. And apparently that's what Sherri did too.
Yeah, you just have conversations with people. And you store the information. And when you see a need, you still store it. And then eventually, we just want to have conversations with people. People just have conversations and look for the opportunities. I'm so excited for part 2 of this interview because I'm going to have you back on. And I think, if you have any questions for Dale, please, I think everyone's just been like so in awe of listening. Go to Smart Inside Sales. Adopt this. I'd love to have us, when we launch the mini course, it'll be, when I say mini, it's less than an hour. It's less than, it's probably between 20 and 30 minutes of content with how-tos and how to produce this. Will you come back? We'll love to have you.
Of course. Absolutely. Awesome. In fact, I'd like to have you on our podcast.
Absolutely.
So we have a podcast called CashCall. Myself and my co-host, Brian Curtis, who runs a very successful brokerage out of Arkansas. He used to sell timeshare, right? I used to be a telemarketer. We both sold a lot of real estate, run teams and everything. And so we have a podcast called CashCall, where we actually have people submit their agents or ISAs recorded calls.
Love it.
We play them and we coach live on them in a 30-minute segment. So that's pretty much what we do there. It's a lot of fun, but occasionally we do interview sort of industry icons like yourself who have a lot of experience out there in the world to break it up a little bit so you can bring your influence in as well.
Awesome. I would love to. I'm flattered that you asked me, and thank you for your kind words before too. That was really awesome of you. We just met, and we didn't have a pre-interview or anything like that. So I like your vibe. I think you work well with our system and the value. It's all about adding value, everybody. If we don't add value, somebody else will get that sale. And ISAs are the way of the future. Teams are the way of the future. It doesn't mean you have to do a team. I'm saying if you are interested, if you want to talk to me or talk to Dale about should you do a team, let's do it the right way. Let's implement an ISA at the right time for you. It's okay if it's on your list for 6 months from now or 3 months out, or, once you get to that point where you have enough business and have enough leads coming in. We're so excited that you're now part of Sherri Johnson Coaching.
Me too. Thank you so much. I'm in. I got in.
We're lucky. We're the lucky ones. And I don't have, this is great. We like to have outside people share this is exactly it. You specialize in this. It's your niche. You're also in Philadelphia. Zach is in Philadelphia. My very good friends at Fox and Roach, Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Fox and Roach Realtors are in Philly.
Yes.
And it's just, we've got a lot to do for the future. So we are going to put this out onto Sherri Johnson podcast, You Rock, which we have over 16,000 downloads in less than 6 months. I'm blown away, and 135 episodes. So check out the podcast. If you haven't downloaded that, it's available on all podcast platforms. Again, it's called You Rock with Sherri Johnson. And check out our 30-day free trial of Sherri's free playbook, where Dale's course is going to be part of that. And that is, again, it's sherrisfreeplaybook.com. First 30 days are free. It's only $99 after that. You get access to the Sherri Johnson Academy, and you also get one live coaching session a month with me in this awesome group mastermind like Q&A session. It's really great. And, you know, what I love is there's no contracts on that either. So you cancel anytime, and there's no contract to sign. We are going to have your course. And when we do upload that, we'll email and broadcast it to everybody. That's when you're going to want to be on Playbook, because Dale's course will be in there. And then we'll make sure all our teams know about you, Dale, and get you exposed to everybody. But again, you rock. You're doing so well. And I can't wait to get to know you better and more, and have and actually meet you someday. So
yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Maybe I'll run it across you at a live event.
That's right. We'll have you speak at a Sherri Johnson 2-day event. How about that?
Look at that. You know, doors are just opening in front of young people. That's fantastic.
I would love on the ticket, man. You're going to speak about ISAs. I already have you booked in a breakout session. So we have to put that. We're putting it together, and I can't wait.
I'd love to do that,
because everybody, I will not stop until I have lanyards that say You Rock on them. So that's my goal. And we're going to have a 2-day Sherri Johnson live event, a couple of them throughout the country. Big announcement. We haven't scheduled it yet. My team's probably like, what is she talking about?
Sherri's out here writing checks again. She's signing checks. We got to cash
them. Well, it's why we did this, you know. And I mean, it's why I did this is coaching, speaking, events. I love it. So, and this looking for a company that has ISAs for hire. Well, we can help you create them. I don't know who you are because we're not getting your name, but you are looking for a company. Send us an email. We'll get you connected. Go check out, for sure, check out Dale's company. I think there is value in having it in-house. I do. I also believe that whatever it is, it has to be implemented and used and consistently used, or it's not going to work, you know? Yeah. And as we said earlier, if nothing changes, nothing changes. So let's break through for 2022. Shake it up a little bit. You know, every time I take a golf lesson, my game improves, and it's not like he's changing that much on my lesson. Okay. It just small, awesome, incremental things that create unbelievable results. And it's just really, it's fantastic. So yes, you're coming to the Sherri Johnson big event, 2-day event. We just haven't booked it yet.
So I don't know where it is.
And everybody have an awesome, awesome weekend. Let's go make it happen. Remember, you have a listing or a sale. You just don't know the address. And Dale, thanks for being with me. I'm Sherri Johnson, everybody. You rock. And I'll see you guys next week on our next Rockstar interview with Sherri Johnson Coaching. Thank you. I'll see you soon.